have to start to the late pick 4.
Kate's event at $28.80, and as we move on to the Monrovia Stakes, Scratch Curvy Cat. This is a good race, and then Lafitte, I told you in the break, I got knocked out of the pick 4 there because I used Cuckoo, but not the winner. But in the 9th race, I'm singling an 0 for 22 maiden named Von Nez, so maybe it's just earlier it's going to happen. But really, honestly, I think Von Nez will be very tough in the last. She's never run against those kind of horses. Yeah, she's 0 for 22, but against infinitely better kind of horses.
Yeah, significant prices in the first 2 legs of this late pick 4.
Don't
now
rub it in, and I
on
got the stakes surrounded, which is going to do me no good right now.
Misdirection. Is there a rust factor coming off that big Breeders' Cup effort, and do you expect her to remain perfect down the hill this afternoon?
I don't know rust factor, but the factor to me is, Lafitte, it's a long year, 2013. I can't imagine the Connections having her cranked fully on tilt for the Monrovia. Not that she can't win, because she's a very good mare. On top of that, this field came up very strong. Even though it's a small field, the other 3, Barama, Broken Dreams, and Kindle, are all good horses who love the hillside turf course, and Kindle's got the advantage of the early speed. I think she's very vulnerable. That's why I used all 4. It doesn't matter. I'm dead. Good luck to Von Nez. Gary's jumping in, and I'll see you later.
Take care. Kirk Gary Stevens stepping in. Yeah, the layoff should be of no concern for Misdirection. She won the Breeders' Cup off of a several-month layoff. Yeah, we're running him ragged today. Gary Stevens from the saddle. Now, behind the microphone. Stay tuned. You're watching Grandstand.
On the outside, Misdirection coming home gamely as well. Wildbeer getting involved late. Misdirection fly. Misdirection perfectly ridden by Garrett Gomez. But Misdirection finds more. And Misdirection just playing too classy for them. Misdirection and Mike Smith win it easy. Unbridled Note in the gold cap is coming flying as well. And Misdirection, Unbridled Note, Misdirection to win it. And Misdirection came storming home to win it.
Unblemished down the hill and untouchable in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Jim Rome's Misdirection outgunning 13 others in North America's richest short-distance grass event. She has turned into a turf sprinting machine. Next fall, she is expected to defend her Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint title. Today, she'll defend her Monrovia title. Misdirection, heavy favorite in today's feature at Santa Anita. Welcome back to Grandstand. I'm Lafitte Pinkai. Now joined by Hall of Fame jockey Gary Stevens. You got anything left for television?
Oh yeah, excited about this race. Excited about seeing Misdirection come back, our Breeders' Cup Sprint Turf Fillies division leader, and interested to see if she's going to come back full steam or if she's going to have the old Breeders' Cup curse today or not. But she loves this hillside turf course, and I'm looking forward to it.
And much more on Gary's return to the saddle a little bit later on in the show. But first, we start with Misdirection and Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith here, Gary. The fact that he's still looking for his first win at the meet. Do you expect that to take place in this upcoming Monrovia?
Yeah, I really do. And one thing about Mike, the Hall of Famer, his temperament never changes, and he's laid back there in the jocks room. We've been sitting in there watching the Seahawk game, just kicking it all day long, and he's very relaxed, very calm. He's not going to let little deal like this. We're the 6th of the month right now. It started the day after Christmas, so year's barely started, and we know he's got some guns loaded for the season and for the year, and I really do at 1-2 right now. I anticipate Misdirection, Mike Smith to wind up in the winner's circle.
And Curvy Cat the Scratch, field of 5, but a key race, Gary, last fall, Senator Ken Maddie. And the top finishers are all here in Broken Dreams, Kindle, and Barama.
Yeah, and Barama, we know she likes this turf course, Broken Dreams as well. The one thing that worries me about Misdirection here is the lack of speed in the race in the way that she ran in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. She came from well off of the pace. We don't have that type of speed today that we were looking at there. Broken Dreams has got some gas to lay early, as well as Kindle for Gary Mandela. So all kinds of different prospects, as Kurt Hoover pointed out.
Yeah, the Monrovia has not been won by the same mare in back-to-back years. You have to go all the way back to Winter Solstice in 1975 and 1976. So as far as this gentleman is concerned, race 1 in the book. So how do you feel?
I feel great. I'd feel better if I had wound up in the winner's circle. The old Seattle ties with Jim Pinney and Bryson and Kay Cooper, and as I came into the stretch, I was loaded down the backside and just had that feeling, you know, early on how much horse you have, and I was able to slide out coming off the turn. I knew I had the horse in front with Tyler Bays, and right about here, Tyler looked over at me and he said, "Go get him, Uncle G," and I thought I was home free, and he started waiting a little bit here, and You always go back and pick yourself apart. Maybe I should have went left-handed. I don't know. Mike Smith, he said, nah, it wasn't going to matter. Gee, he said she looked good. I felt good, and it was exciting. Would have been more exciting if I would have wound up over there in that green box, but it was a good comeback, and looking forward to riding more.
We're proud of you, Gary. That was awesome
Thanks,
today. Oh, by the way, kind of a cool shot.
It would have been cooler. Well, I won't even say, but that is a cool shot with that rainbow. Yeah, yeah. Well, we did. I got back today, so it felt good.
All right, so we have the Monrovia coming up, and we focus on this Hall of Fame jockey, Mike Smith, who finished second in all 3 Triple Crown races last year. But he did win 2 Breeders' Cup events, including a victory in the Turf Sprint with Ms. Direction. At some point, she'll defend her Breeders' Cup title. Today, she defends her Monrovia title. We'll be right back.
Backstretch of Santa Anita. Don't see that too often. We see them, but not this close to home, right out of the canyon.
It's gorgeous. Winter in the Southland, and for the Sunday program at Santa Anita, the late double about to get underway with the featured Grade 2 $150,000 Monrovia Stakes. Curvy Cat the scratch, Ms. Direction the headliner, now 3-5 with 8 minutes to go.
Yeah, no surprises there whatsoever. Kendall, she's getting good respect, as I said. Might be the speed of the race here. She can go either way, but look for her to be in front early on.
Christina's in the jungle and with Team Ms. Direction in the paddock. Christina.
Guys, thanks very much. I'm joined by Team Ms. We'll go through the whole team here. We'll start with Bill Strauss to my right. Bill, since the Breeders' Cup, have you been able to put into words just what that moment meant to you to have her win this race?
No, it was the single greatest moment of my life. It was just amazing. There are no words that could do it, but I want to do it again. That much I do know, but there are no words for it.
And I know you watch her train quite a lot in the mornings. How are you feeling about the way she's coming into this race?
No, she's training great. Couldn't be coming up any better. She looks great. Looks better now than before the Breeders' Cup. And let's hope the pace of the race and the race shapes up well for her. But she's doing great.
Jim Rohn, will go to you. Jim, I know last year when you won this race, you made a big deal out of the fact that this was on Zip Me's hill and you took the race from her. Is it safe to say it's Mrs. Hill now? The rest of them have to take it from her?
Yeah, you know, you're only as good as your last win. So if she does it again today, I think maybe we can say she's legitimately the queen of the hill. But it's a tough field. So I'm not going to assume anything other than she's going to give us a good, honest effort. So no, not just yet. But if we win today, you might be able to get me to say it.
Are you worried about the pace at all with a shorter field? She might not get that setup that she needs?
A little bit. Kendall is awfully fast, and I think that if anybody can run from the start and finish that thing off, maybe she can. But we know Miz will be close, and she'll come running.
One of your partners behind Boris Beljack here. You've got to be one of the luckiest men in horse racing. Your first horse is Ms. Direction. Easy game, huh?
How about that? We need some more like that. I just need Jim to help me out and get some more horses.
Have you been sucked in like the rest of them?
I think I am. It's pretty addictive, and it's a lot of fun.
I'll go to Alex Solis Jr. to my left. Alex, you manage this entire group. It's been going pretty well. How's everybody been handling, of course, the excitement, but also the pressure of bringing a horse like this back to the races today?
You know, everyone's been really great about the whole thing. They kind of let Mike and I sit down and tell them what's going on, and the plan's the plan, and it's been really easy and a lot of fun.
Good luck to you guys. Good luck, everyone. Team Miz looking to defend her championship in the Monrovia here.
3-5 in the backside of that rainbow. Christina Blacker, thanks so much. And they seem fired up, and rightfully so. Was she the queen of the hill? She'll try and defend that Monrovia title in about 6 minutes, and you'll see her in the post parade. Ms. Direction at 3-5, but we start with Barama and Rafael Bejarano at 6-1.
Very consistent filly at 4-year-old, and she runs well off the hillside turf course. She's consistent. She shows up for every race. She was third to Broken Dreams last time out.
Kendall is ridiculously fast.
She is ridiculously fast. She will be in front. She's won the off the turf course. She won the Kin Matty. Grade 3, or actually second, then came back, won an allowance race at Hollywood Park last time out.
You saw Javine, would be a surprise at 22-1, and then Garrett Gomez aboard Broken Dreams for the Glen Hill Farm.
Yeah, and Broken Dreams, second last time out. She won the Kin Matty, so we know she likes this turf course. 2 wins, 2 seconds, and this is just a great race all the way across. There's Ms. Direction. You know, I talked about the lack of speed, but this mare, she's so versatile. She's won up close to the pace, and Mike, he's going to know what's going on, and if Kendall's getting away with too much too early, look for him to you know, ignite things a little earlier than he might normally do. But this mare, she's drawn well in the 6th post position. Mike can take a look over, see what's going on, and go from there.
And she is a finalist for champion female sprinter Ms. Direction. Maybe wrong place, wrong time, groupie dollars in the same division. But it's not official yet. All will be announced January 19th at Gulfstream Park, the 42nd Annual Eclipse Awards, live on HRTV. There she is, Ms. Direction. What were you most impressed by in terms of her Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint victory?
Well, she was a long ways back. I mean, she was 10th early on in a 14-horse field, and when I said she's versatile in that she can adapt to the pace, and pace was extremely quick that day. She went 21, or there was 21 for the first quarter, 42-1, 105, so she figured to be that far off the lead. We're not going to see that today. She handles any kind of turf course, any type of layout, but she's most comfortable on this turf course. And I think the thing that impressed me the most about that victory is her maneuverability, as well as you can take her inside, outside. It doesn't really matter. We've got a short field today with the scratch down to 5 horses, and that might be a hindrance to her. She might be a filly that the bigger field helps her. It's an asset. So that's one of the interesting things here as we look at Kendall, and she's being well back down to 2-1 right now.
And escaping injury, very fortunate, was Edwin Maldonado aboard Luckerack when he stumbled leaving the starting gate in race 7. Maldonado gets to keep his date with Kendall. If you're watching the clock and she is in front, what do you want to see as a handicapper if you've wagered on Kendall in terms of how fast she goes early on?
Well, I don't care how fast she goes early on. I would be more concerned that she clears early on and that those ears are butterflying back and forth and she's on the lonesome by herself without pressure. And I really don't see anybody that can apply the type of pressure that would be needed. I mean, she's shown 20-4 speed off this hillside turf course. 42-2. She did stop, got beaten the Matty off of those types of fractions, but there's nobody that's going to pursue her to make her go that quick. And the thing is, after riding a race on the turf course today, these conditions are pristine. We had some rain last night. We've had just little sprinkles today, but this turf course couldn't be in any better condition. It's got just enough cut in it that these horses, turf horse, dirt horse, I don't care what you would run over, they would enjoy it. It's perfect.
There's Simon Callahan's Barama for Aaron Wellman's Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners, Rafael Bejarano riding. Would you guess that Ms. Direction might be a little quicker than Barama is leaving the starting gate? And if so, would Bejarano's approach to be simply follow Mike Smith whenever he moves with the Breeders' Cup champ?
They've got very similar styles, and I would say that Rafael is a little bit more aggressive than Mike Smith, and I think that Bejarano's got to figure out what to do to beat Ms. Direction. So the ball's in his court as far as worrying tactics and stuff. Mike Smith not going to be worried about Barama near as much as Rafael Bejarano's going to be worried about Ms. Direction. How do I beat her? And Barama, she can be tactical, but I would say as far as field size, it may affect her more with the lack of speed, with the exception of Kendall. She needs pace as well. And if Kendall gets away with a 21 and change first quarter, it might be lights out for both Ms. Direction and Barama. Kendall may just keep right on rolling. And what you'd hate to see is Barama or Ms. Direction try and make an early move and not quite get there. Barama getting a nice breather coming around that left-hander from the half-mile pole down to the quarter pole, getting a free quarter of a mile there while these horses are making up ground. Now they cross the dirt, and Kendall's a fresh horse as they cross the dirt and sprints away from him again. And that's sort of the scenario I would be playing in my head if I'm Edwin Maldonado.
Tricky ride for Garrett Gomez, who you're looking at aboard Broken Dreams. He figures to be the one tracking Kendall, and he has to make the call of when it's the right moment to go after Kendall, but to not move too soon so that he comes up empty late and gets run down by either Barama or Ms. Direction.
He's so cagey, and he's got a great sixth sense to him that he's going to feel either Ms. Direction coming up on him with Mike Smith at the appropriate time, or Barama to cue him when it's time to go. and he's got the benefit of being able to lay second. He's going to be able to see how much horse Edward Maldonado has and how much speed he's irking out there early on, and he's going to know when to attack. But he's going to be in the garden spot, and he's going to get to make the first call on when to move.
Broken Dreams in Misdirection, trying to become the first repeat winner of the Monrovia since the mid-1970s. She is odds on at 4-5. Post time for the Monrovia Stakes.
And away they go to a perfect start. Kindle flew out the gate, and Kindle flying off to the early lead. Broken Dreams is getting up to race second. On the far side, Misdirection broke well, now drops back a joint third with Javine and By Rama's the trailers, 6 off the leaders. They go to the half mile, and Kindle very fast out here, leads at a length and a half. Broken Dreams is taken back down at the rail. On the far side, Misdirection showing a lot of speed today. Misdirection now goes up alongside a Kindle. Javine a close up fourth, and By Rama is at the back. Down the hill they come, and it's Javine on the inside, Misdirection right there in second. Broken Dreams in the gold cap, tucked in neatly in third, and Broken Dreams now coming strongly after them. Then it's Javine. By Rama's now 7 off the leader. They come to the top of the lane, and Kendall kicks on for home. On the outside, Misdirection. Broken Dreams going to go for a run at the rail. Then Javine and By Rama. Homeward bound, and Kendall is still in front, just over a length to Misdirection. Broken Dreams, Javine and By Rama. Kendall digs deep, finds more. Misdirection chasing gamely on the outside. Kendall holding on to the lead. Kendall, Misdirection, Misdirection, Misdirection. All class up to win it. Misdirection tag Kendall right at the wire. By Rama running on, then Javine and Broken Dreams.
It's her hill, and those are her owners. Jim Rome sweating this one out. Misdirection defending her title in the Grade 2 Monrovia Stakes.
And
wow.
And Edward Maldonado, I know what it feels like, buddy, but I know it's in a Grade 2. I thought Kendall was home and dry, and there was a key moment to this race, and it was actually midway through the race, well before midway through the race, and you see Kendall get a flyer away from the start, and Garrett Gomez reaches up, takes a big hold of Broken Dreams, and when Kendall goes 21-3, that's like going 23-24, going 6 furlongs when you're coming off the hillside turf course. And Mike Smith sitting back there in third place on Misdirection. When we switch camera angles here, watch what happens. Look how far out he shaved that corner, and I'm talking about Kendall. And Mike Smith, he cut the corner. He made up about 3 lengths in a matter of 2 strides. Wow. And to me, that was the game winner right there, because Kendall was a fresh horse. She absolutely got the gallop the first 3/8 of a mile. And Mike didn't really have to use Misdirection to close that gap in that little stage there as they came around that right-hand turn. And that's the knowledge of riding this turf course so many times. Kendall's loaded right here. She sprints away from Misdirection and actually stole away, and I thought the race was over with right here, but the champ of the grass, the queen of the grass, Misdirection, Mike Smith under the left hand, he hadn't given up, neither had she.
How about the Hall of Famer mid-race, the audible, to place Misdirection so much closer to the pace than we're accustomed to seeing her?
Well, that's what we're talking about. He realized that the pace wasn't that fast, and Misdirection is so adaptable, and she can do anything, and good horses, you're able to do that. Good riders are able to make that call and then switch them off and know that they're going to finish. And I'll tell you what, Mike Pipey's done a great job. This mare looks tremendous out there on the racetrack. Job well done to all.
First win of the meet for jockey Mike Smith, and he does so in the Grade 2 at Monrovia. The favorite, Misdirection, surges late, gunning down Kendall in the Sunday feature at Santa Anita. Results, reaction, and much more when Grandstand returns. Look at that shot.
I love it.
Through the rain, Mike Smith, Misdirection for Jim Rome's Jungle Racing. Stay tuned. Smitty entering the winner's circle with the Breeders' Cup champ Misdirection, now a perfect 4 for 4 down the hillside turf course.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about Mike, his first win here at the meet. Things like this do not shake him up any whatsoever. We hang out a lot, close friends. He lives up in Sierra Madre where I do. We have the same trainer we work out with, and believe me, it hasn't it bothers him. He wants to be in the winner's circle, but he hasn't been riding bad races. He's been riding good races. He knows it's only a matter of time. And the Hall of Famers, they know the good ones are going to get them in the winner's circle. And he rode a great race just now by a great mare.
Packed winner's circle. Mike Smith, and he had only ridden 20 races coming into this Monrovia Stakes. And of course, Ms. Direction, who provided him with his 17th overall Breeders' Cup title, most among jockeys all time in the Breeders' Cup. Ms. Direction over Kindle. And for Kindle, this hillside turf course, the last two races, you talk about a house of horrors and losing a pair of heartbreakers.
Yeah, I mean, that's as tough a beat as you can get right there. And she went off at 9-5 and did everything but get her picture taken here. And, you know, they're going to go back and they're going to question, should have we let her do more early on and establish that lead? And you can go back, you can beat yourself up. I'm doing it from earlier today, but no, Edwin, you rode a superb race, and take what they'll give you, and they gave you a lot early on. They let you get away with some slow fractions. Crafty ride by Mike Smith, and we were expecting a big, important race, a good, exciting race, and that's exactly what we got at the end of the day.
She has that nose for a wire. She seems like
Literally.
one of those racehorses that knows she's in a horse race. When you watch her lengthen out and gun down the leaders in the Breeders' Cup turf sprint. And the same thing here, really leveling off and lengthening that stride, which turned out to be the difference between winning and losing today.
Yeah, and I think one of the keys to that, though, is you get horses that there's that saying, horses for courses, and we've seen more horses, or at least myself, over the past 20 years that really enjoy this turf course. And part of that is the rider that they're connected with, and that first or second trip that they get off of the hillside turf course. Bobby Frankel had told me 25 years ago, look, if you've got to move before you cross that dirt, you're in big trouble. You got no chance of winning. And Mike made up that little bit of ground, but he didn't have to use her at the half-mile pole. She did it on her own, and he really never asked her for her best until they had crossed the dirt. He allowed her to lengthen and get into that stride almost like a route horse, and she ran like a route horse the last 16th.
Ms. Direction, Mike Smith, the presentation of the glassware, and her victory in the Monrovia, back-to-back victories for Ms. Direction in this Monrovia. A little disappointing, I thought, Barama, far off the pace with Rafael Bejarano. We just didn't see that same patented Barama run late.
Might have been a little dull. She's been off since October, and you don't see any long layoffs in her past form. Some of these fillies this time of the year, they need a start or whatever, so there was really nothing to go off of there. How is she going to rebound off of that long layoff? She was obviously dull today, but don't write her off just yet. I would say that this might light her up a little bit and some other plans down the road for her, but she definitely did not fire her strongest bullet off of the bench. I'm disappointed in Jim Rome. He sounded like one of those owners of a football team prior to the game. He was already hedging before. Don't hedge, Jim. You got the money, and you got a nice mare.
Christina with a pair of Mikes in the winner's circle.
That's right. Mike and Mike, Pipey and Smith joining me here, the winning connections of Ms. Direction in the Monrovia today. Mike Smith, I'll start with you first. You knew on paper Kindle was going to be very quick. Were you deliberately a little closer to her today and not let her get away?
Yes, I did. She kind of stutter stepped just a little bit leaving the gate, but I knew I had to hurry up and get back up on our feet and get close to her anyway, because I thought Kindle was going to be really, really tough to beat. And my mare showed a great, a lot of class there at the end, and a good little leg kick, which hopefully indicates that she'll stretch out. I sure hope so anyway.
What was it about the final 16th of a mile? At one point it looked like you weren't making up ground on Kindle, and then you caught her.
Well, because Kindle kicked on, didn't she? I mean, she really did. When she come across the dirt, when you asked her, she hit another gear, so it made me idle just for a little bit. But then her class came out at the end, and we were able to run her down and galloped out really nice. So like I said, hopefully that's an indication that she'll stretch on out.
Your class did too, a Hall of Fame ride. Nice job. Mike Pipey, the winning trainer to my left. Did it make you hold your breath a little bit as she did idle for just a second?
Yeah, both times. I respected the horse that was ahead of us because she was the lone speed today, and she ran dynamite at Hollywood. She ran a big speed figure, and lone speed's dangerous in any race at any time, so I knew we had our work cut out for us, and Mike rode her great. To have her in position to be close. If he had rode her any other way, she wouldn't have won today, because that's what it took to get that filly, and it took every bit of it to get her right at the end, you know. So it's a big race, but you gotta give praise to both him and the horse. She's shown now she's versatile. She can do whatever. She seemed to look like she'd relax enough to try what we're going to do next time, and that's to get her to go 2 turns, you know. So we're going to give it our best shot and see how she embarks into that new part of her career right now.
Do you have a race specifically in mind? We know she runs well fresh. Will you give her some time until that route race?
The Buena Vista is 6 weeks from now. It's the right race in her schedule, and we'd like to know before we look at other races on the agenda this year what she's going to do on her home grounds, because she's 4 for 4 on this turf course, and it'd be nice to see what she can do going a mile before we make any decisions past that, you know.
All right, good luck moving forward. Ms. Direction, so impressive here in the Monrovia today, and the team wants to dedicate this one to Boris Beljak Sr., who they lost earlier this week. You saw that rainbow right before the starting gate. He was watching as Ms. Direction was a winner today.
Very classy from everyone associated with Ms. Direction, who has conquered the hill, and now, well, she'll try other challenges as we march through the very beginning of 2013. Ms. Direction takes down the Monrovia, and when we come back, we'll look back at the biggest questions and headlines going into this weekend of racing. Stay tuned.